Containers. Some of the area we just passed through were all the sound stages, but take a closer look, because they're not. In actuality, the fronts of these facades are constructed out of chicken wire and styrofoam that is painted and shaped to look like brick, stone, or concrete. There's going to be a good example of that coming up right now on my side of the tram. You see this house? It's marked 23. You might have recognized that house from the 20th Century Fox film War of the Roses with Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner. That's where they housed that Christmas party at Danny DeVito's house. But most of that is only chicken wire and styrofoam. There's a good reason why we built those sets in that fashion. We have to change the fronts of these buildings so often for different productions. It's really not practical to build them out of anything permanent. Now, the string we've just turned onto, you might recognize from the 1973 Oscar-winning Best Picture. That movie was called The Sting, starred Robert Redford and Paul Newman, and this was Old Chicago for The Sting. I'll tell you how we changed this to Old Chicago. We brought some large elevated train tracks out here. We set them up on both sides of the streets to simulate the old Chicago L train, and then we used the matte painting process. And that's where an artist does a painting on glass, and they combine it with a live shot to make it look like one continuous scene. In the case of this thing, they put a mat over the camera, like a piece of cardboard. It actually blocks off what part of the camera sees. What they did is they blocked off the tops of these buildings and the Los Angeles skyline. They then had an artist do a painting on glass of the extensions of these buildings, and he painted in the old Chicago skyline. And when they combined the artwork with the live shot, they made it look like old Chicago right here on a backlot for the Sting. And you know, it's kind of fitting that we're seeing the car right now, because right now I think we're going to take a little trip into the future. Or maybe I should say back to the future.
I like that cab.
Because we're going to take a look at Hill Valley, used for the original Back to the Future back in 1985. But take a good look around you today, and you're going to notice Hill Valley has changed quite a bit. That's because we are now in the year 2015, and what you're looking at are the sets for Back to the Future Part 2. We got a whole bunch of picture cars out here. On my side of the tram, one of the futuristic police mobiles, also used for Back to the Future Part 2.
That looks cool. Look at it.
And as we make this turn, you'll have an excellent picture-taking opportunity of that brick building with the green glass windows. You might recognize that. That is the courthouse with the clock tower that was struck by lightning in the original Back to the Future. And you can see how this building has changed in the future. For example, the area in front of the courthouse, this used to be a parking lot. It's where Michael J. Fox did a lot of his skateboard stunts in the first film. Well, now they've changed it into the scenic pond you now see, and this is where Michael J. Fox does his hoverboard stunts in Back to the Future Part 2. By the way, how many of you have seen Back to the Future Part 2? Show hands. Okay, quite a few of you. Well, if you haven't seen the film Hoverboards or Skateboards in the future, they actually hover above the ground. You know, it's funny, I was watching the original Back to the Future just the other night, and I picked up something kind of interesting. You know, the very beginning of the film, Michael J. Fox is late for school. He's riding a skateboard. He grabs onto the back of a pickup truck, starts riding through the streets. You might remember that scene. The driver turns around and gives him a dirty look. Michael J. Fox kind of waves to him. Next time you watch Back to the Future, you can rent it. It's on videotape, of course. Take a good look at the driver of that pickup truck. You know who it is? It's Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones. He's good friends with Steven Spielberg, as you know, so he makes a cameo appearance in Back to the Future, but not many people caught it. Now, if you liked Back to the Future, and if you liked Back to the Future Part 2, and if that second film left you kind of hanging, wondering how everything is going to be resolved, you don't have that long to wait. Because Back to the Future Part 3 is completed. It's going to be in your theater May 25th, about a month from now. Memorial Day weekend is the release date. Now, for Back to the Future Part 3, they go all the way back to 1885, back to the Wild West. The film is Part 2 on videotape one day before the third film hits the theaters. The first time this has ever been done in Hollywood. So you get a chance to catch up by seeing Part 2 before you see Part 3 this summer. Wait a minute, something has obviously gone very wrong inside this soundstage. Folks, we are not going to stick around to find out what happened. We're going to get you out of here immediately. Everybody remain calm. Remain in your seats. Gary, can you take the bridge, please? Wait a minute, there's something already on the bridge. On my side of the tram, it's big, it's hairy, it's King Kong, look out! If I was you, I'd hang on to my camera. Because Kong's got the bridge cables, which means we're going down! And also on my side of the tram, you see a small body of water coming up here. What you're looking at is the entire Pacific Ocean. Well, he believed it was the entire Pacific Ocean when you watched McHale's Navy with Ernest Borgnine back in the mid-1960s, because this is all they ever used to represent the Pacific Ocean for that series. After many years, there has been a legend about underwater mines left over from the filming of McHale's Navy that are in this area still. Personally, I have never seen one go off, but we do have to say that, just to be on the safe side. Uh-oh. We just saw one of them go off. You have to watch out for those. They are rather unpredictable. Uh-oh, this could be a problem. Gary, they took the bridge away and they didn't tell us, which means we're going to have to part these waters with a miracle. Waters, please, part. I know, pretty amazing, but it's not that amazing really. It's a recreation of the Red Sea, inspired by the Paramount film The Ten Commandments, which starred Charlton Heston. And we're going to take you through the Red Sea. So if you have any personal possessions on the floor of the tram, it's probably a good idea to pick those personal possessions up and hold them on your lap, because there is always the chance we could get just a little bit wet. So if you got anything on the tram you don't want to be wet, pick it up and hold it on your lap until we're out of the Red Sea. Now in front of the Red Sea you see that large wooden ark. That's Noah's Ark from the Chevy Chase movie Fletch Lives. In the sequel to Fletch visits an amusement park in the Deep South. It's called Bible Land. And that was part of Bible Land for Fletch Lives. But right now we're going to take you through the Red Sea. So everybody remain in your seats and pick up those personal possessions off the floor of the tram.
I don't like alligators. I told you.